Okay, so Apple's event brought a lot of new stuff, or sort of new stuff, to the table. New Apple Watches, AirPods, and iPhones. But here's the thing. A lot of the most interesting features I personally saw won't be available on day one at launch, which feels new for Apple, and we'll talk about some of those implications. But first, let's start with some exciting things that I'm genuinely eager to try, and that first thing is the Apple Watch Series 10. We're getting a thinner design paired with a new, larger display that Apple claims to be the most advanced display of any Apple Watch. It's a new, quote-unquote, wide-angle OLED display that is 40% brighter and more visible at an angle, and goes up to 2000 nits of brightness. All of this sounds great on paper, but I am curious how much of a difference this wide-angle display makes to my day-to-day experience. Like, just looking at my Ultra 2 right now at an angle, like, there was never really any concerns of visibility being an issue. So I'm curious, like, how much more visible this new Apple Watch is going to be with their watch face just like at a glance. I don't know. We'll see. Other cool things are faster charging, so 0 to 80% in 30 minutes, which I'll take that every day of the week, and the ability to play music from that tiny speaker. I need to know, like, how loud this actually gets. Like, this might be something that's a lot more useful day to day than we expect. And then there's the other stuff that I'll never use, like the new depth gauge sensor, which, no shade to that, it's really cool. It's just not my thing. And then there's stuff that isn't even coming out quite yet, like the sleep apnea detection that was announced, and it's super cool, but it's not going to arrive until pending FDA approval via a software update. This theme, by the way, of just stuff being announced and is really cool, but it's not quite there yet day when I launch, is gonna keep continuing throughout this video. But anyways, as for colorways, there is a new jet black glossy aluminum finish that does look really freaking cool, as well as the grade 5 shiny titanium finishes that just look absolutely incredible to me. They are going to be replacing the stainless steel from previous Apple Watch years. I personally ordered the Series 10 in 46mm in the natural titanium with the matching Milanese loop. I'm super excited to try this watch out and share my watch and share my thoughts with you on the channel, so just be sure to stay subscribed by clicking the link below. As for the Apple Watch Ultra, we didn't get anything new this year, which was a little bit disappointing considering I'm a big fan of the Ultra 2, and I was just hoping that they would improve upon it somehow with an Ultra 3. Instead, we are getting the same Ultra 2 as last year, but in a new black titanium color, which I will admit, based on the videos I've seen online, it looks freaking awesome. I was eager to see if Apple would announce any kind of Apple Intelligence features for the Apple Watch, but nothing, which isn't surprising to me at all, considering AI on iPhone is going to still be in beta for a long time, with a lot of stuff not even out yet right away, which we'll talk about that soon. But this does mean that we'll be stuck with what I feel is a Siri on an Apple Watch that just isn't that useful, especially if you've used Android watches with Google Assistant. That is actually a more useful, like, assistant out of the box than Siri could ever be at its current stage on a watch. Before we keep going, I want to take a moment to thank ESR for partnering with me and sending over their exclusive MagSafe stash stand case lineup for the new iPhone 16. These cases really shine because of the unlimited MagSafe use. What I mean by that is that the unique stand design lets you use MagSafe accessories while keeping the stand completely functional, unlike other cases where you have to choose between one or the other. Plus, the ultra-thin back panel allows for faster charging. ESR's own tests show that MagSafe charging on an iPhone 15 Pro Max is at least 30 minutes faster compared to other brands. On top of all that, these cases are built tough with reinforced corners and raised edges to protect your screen and camera. You'll also find precise cutouts for everything, including one for the new capture button, and each case brings something very unique. The Classic Hybrid is slim and scratch resistant, the Cloud Soft provides a smooth, grippy feel, and the Cyber Tough, with its groundbreaking 3-layer design, is built for maximum durability, able to handle drops from up to 23 feet. And to top it off, ESR's iPhone 16 screen protector adds an extra layer of military-grade protection with its super easy 2-step install. So if you are getting ready for your iPhone 16 pre-order, make sure you are prepared with the perfect case and screen protector from ESR by clicking the link down below to get yours today. Moving on to AirPods. This part of the keynote left a lot to be desired at some points, but let's first start with the good news, which is the AirPods 4. It comes in a new design that allegedly is supposed to be the most advanced and comfortable open-ear headphones Apple has ever made. They said something along the lines of 50 million data points and thousands of ear shapes to get a fit that naturally fits more people around the world. Admittedly, I'm not an open ear kind of headphone person. I've always liked the ear tips of AirPods Pros, but I did order these and I am eager to see how well these actually fit, because generally they've never fit well into my ears. They're also getting the H2 chip, which unlocks a whole bunch of features, including better sound quality, improved call quality thanks to voice isolation. There will also be a force sensor control on the stem of the earbuds that is actually different from the ones in AirPods Pro. Let me explain. They basically allow you to do play, pause media controls, Siri, and answering phone calls. That's it. Surprisingly, there was no inclusions to be able to control the volume on this like you could on AirPods Pro 2, which honestly is a really convenient feature that is being left out and could be a bit of a deal breaker, I think, for some of you guys watching this video. The biggest thing, however, is Apple is finally bringing noise cancellation and transparency modes to the baseline AirPods. Typically in open ear earbuds, it won't work nearly as well, which is why I think it took them a long time to get to this point, as something that actually has ear tips in there works so much better for these types of features because it's already blocking a lot of noise passively, but in an open ear design, a lot more engineering needs to go into that to really get noise cancellation and transparency mode right. But from Apple's demos during the keynote, they seem super confident that these will work really well against a lot of the noise that we're hearing around in our lives day to day. Again, we'll have to test this out, of course, and see if Apple's promises are true here. I did order a pair for these to review on the channel, so be sure to subscribe and we'll check them out later. In general though, I think it's a big win for people on a budget to get ANC and transparency mode for less than $200 from Apple. Let's celebrate that a little bit. In terms of AirPods Pros, we aren't getting anything new this year and said they are going to continue to sell this model as is, but mentioned that there will be a software update that will bring a lot of very neat features for our ears, including a scientifically validated hearing test and the ability to turn AirPod Pros into fully blown medically cleared hearing aids. That's big news, as it's my understanding that hearing aids are crazy expensive and they literally only have one function, which is to just be a hearing aid. AirPods obviously do a lot more than just help you hear around the stuff around you. So I love that Apple is furthering its footprint in the health space and actually making it cheaper in some ways for people to kind of resolve some of the hearing deficiencies that they might have for themselves. As for AirPods Max, which are about 4 years old at this point, all we're getting is USB-C charging and new colors. That's it. The rage on Twitter was honestly hilarious to read through if you are bored and you want to just read people complain, which I shouldn't really be doing, but sometimes it's funny, and I did. People were looking for way more from this update. Personally, I would have liked to see at least the H2 chip in here, a better case, because I'm not a fan of the case right now, and just the ability to turn these off when I want to, because my AirPods Max are always dead unless I have them on the charger or they're in the case. But I can see why Apple might have gone in this direction if I play devil's advocate here. The amount of non-tech people I've seen who are using AirPods Max is insane. I casually see them everywhere, from the most casual folks that you can imagine. So I think fun, new colors is all Apple really needed to do to continue to sell these as what I feel are now hot fashion headphone accessories to the masses. I think that's the play here for AirPods Max for now, and it's working for Apple clearly. So well played, Apple. Okay, so let's talk iPhone, starting with the 16 and 16 Plus. We're getting 5 new gorgeous bold colors in black, white, pink, teal, and ultramarine. The ultramarine is the color to get for sure. It has to be one of the best looking iPhones I've ever seen to date. I wish they would do that color on the Pro. Anyway, one of the biggest things emphasized on this keynote was, unsurprisingly, Apple Intelligence. Apple said the iPhone 16 was built from the ground up to leverage all of these new AI AI features coming this fall thanks to the new A18 chip inside of these phones. They showed off the writing tools that help assist our emails and text messages, contextually summarized notifications, being able to type to Siri actually being more natural and able to understand even if you stumble on your words and all this stuff. But the best features though, like the things that I'm excited about, which is having Siri being able to draw on your own personal context and data to give you tailored answers to very specific questions about your life, the ability to access ChatGPT directly from your phone, the ability to generate your own custom emojis, all of the coolest stuff about AI on iPhone isn't coming until later this year. So do you buy this phone on the promise of things to come then? That's always like a tough pill to swallow, especially since it's such a focal point of why to buy these iPhones in the first place. But let's bring our focus back to the design of the iPhone 16. Apple stated there's going to be a bigger battery for longer battery life, which is awesome. Like, longer battery life is always a good thing, improved heat management to help the phone stay cool as well, and we're also getting a new customizable action button that you can assign to do basically whatever you want that was on the 15 Pro from last year, as well as a new camera control button, which shocked me with how cool that was. It's packed with features. It's both a clickable and touch-sensitive button that allows for tons of cool interactions, such as taking photos, videos, controlling zoom, bringing camera preview controls, and so much more. Like, this thing is fully decked out. Another thing that falls though into the later this year category is visual intelligence, which allows you to point the camera at any subject, and with a simple click, it can give you the details of restaurant hours or ratings, identify the breed of an animal, and so forth. It's basically like Google Lens and Circle to Search on Android phones, except on iPhone, so kind of the exact same concept, but hot take, it appears to be better executed in my opinion. In terms of the cameras themselves, the iPhone 16 is actually getting a decent update. We get what Apple now calls a 48 megapixel Fusion main sensor, which I kind of find confusing because when I looked at the iPhone 15 specs and the iPhone 16 specs, they both have 48 megapixel sensors that can do 1x and a 2x optical telephoto. So why is it called Fusion? I don't know. The cool thing though is that we are actually getting a new ultra wide camera. It's 12 megapixels, so it has improved low light performance, the ability to take macro photography shots, in addition to the camera orientation allowing for spatial photos and videos to be captured, in the hopes that you will consider buying, of course, a Vision Pro in the future. Can't blame them for trying and even preparing you for it, because if they do release like a cheaper Apple Vision, then that's maybe like $1,000 or $500, then I think you're gonna thank yourself in the future that you actually took all of these spatial videos and content for you to actually view in that format. So I guess plan for the future. There's also these photographic styles that are not supposed to be like filters, but be more customizable. Honestly, I've never used this on my older iPhones. It wasn't my cup of tea, but this time it does look more comprehensive. So something to definitely experiment with. I am excited to try that out. As for video, spatial audio can now be captured on iPhone 16 recorded content so that you can take advantage of that immersive listening experience from your own recorded videos on like a Vision Pro, AirPods, or just basically any general surround sound system. You can also tinker with the audio mix of these videos when you record, which is just a lot of pro level stuff on a non-pro phone. Like, this looks like a good update to me. Speaking of the Pro, let's move on to the 16 Pro and Pro Max. Key takeaway is Apple Intelligence, which we've talked about. Bigger displays at 6.3 and 6.9 inches with even thinner bezels. I think that 6.9 inch Pro Max looks freaking massive. I'm almost contemplating if I want to have that phone for a whole year or if I should downsize to the smaller phone, because that thing looked huge. We're also getting improved cameras, camera control, which we've talked about, and a new A18 Pro chip for even faster performance. And a brand new desert titanium color. I will say the rumors about this color looking really bad were so off. I think the desert titanium looks awesome, and as long as that color doesn't sell out, that is the one I'm going to pre-order this Friday. I won't repeat the stuff about Apple Intelligence or camera control because, you know, we've talked about that stuff. It's all the same on the 16 Pro. Where things start to be a little bit different this year is going to be in the cameras. For one, if I'm understanding correctly, we are actually getting an improved 48 megapixel fusion camera sensor that is 2 times faster than before. So we can take full resolution 48 megapixel Pro RAW and HEIF images with basically 0 shutter lag. So what that means in layman terms is that when your subject is just moving around a lot in frame and you want to take a really high resolution photo, they're actually going to be in focus, at least a lot more often than before, which is actually a good thing. What I'm most excited about though is the new 48 megapixel ultra wide lens. Like, yes, thank you. If you've been following my channel, I have been talking about the ultra wide lens just feeling so inferior, and like they're finally doing something about it. I will say though, like we need to test this out first, but it can't be worse than the 15 Pro. Not that the 15 Pro ultra wide was bad, like it was good, but it just, if you put the main sensor up here, I always felt the ultra wide was just kind of here. It wasn't quite as good. But now that they both shoot in 48 megapixels, I am excited to see how good these photos can actually turn out. Also, the 5x telephoto lens is now on both the 16 Pro and Pro Max, which I believe now makes these phones the exact same feature-wise for the first time in years. You no longer need to compromise, and you can choose the size that you want, which is a good thing for us consumers. In terms of video, Apple is just in a league of its own. 4K 120 is now possible with an array of features that make shooting on this phone a lot of fun, including being able to do 4K 120 with ProRes log. Like, for video nerds like me, that's pretty freaking cool. These Pro phones will also have 4 new studio quality mics that are supposed to be better than last year. To be honest, I just don't know anyone who seriously shoots video for a living who doesn't already use external mics, but you know, fine, they're better, I'll take it, why not? And that's about it. That's Apple's event in a nutshell. Does it feel underwhelming a little bit? Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I think the biggest updates this year were all done to the base level models. AirPods 4, iPhone 16, Apple Watch Series 10. Those got big upgrades for people who typically buy the more budget-friendly Apple products, which is awesome to see. I'm not complaining about that at all. That means more tech and features being available for cheaper, essentially. But for people who are regular buyers of things like Apple Watch Ultra, 16 Pro Max, or AirPods Max, this event didn't feel like the focus was on this crowd that much this year. But something that's just been on my mind for the past like 24 hours is just the fact that so much of the cool things announced won't be available on day one. It's been a trend that the Googles of the world have been adopting for a while, and if I'm being honest, it's a little bit disappointing that we're now here with Apple products. Like, we're at this point now where you buy something and it's not quite ready yet. So when it comes to reviewing this in a few weeks, I can only discuss what's there, like what works today, which again, when we look at their keynote, a lot of the coolest things they announced aren't there day one. So it's a weird pill to swallow for sure. But that's my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Comment hashtag I made it if you finished the video. Let me know what you guys think of the new iPhones, Apple Watches, AirPods. I want to have a conversation down below. Subscribe if you're brand new, and I'll talk to all of you guys in the next one. Peace.